Good evening. Tonight we're talking about tariffs. They might sound boring, but tariffs are the economic equivalent of a toddler's tantrum. Messy, loud, and costly for everyone. Recent US tariffs were supposed to bring jobs back, but in many cases they've done the opposite, like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. We'll focus on 5 major American companies that responded to these tariffs not by bringing jobs home, but by moving operations overseas. These aren't minor tweaks, these are seismic shifts by companies as American as apple pie. Their decisions reveal a fascinating and slightly worrying story about global economics and unintended consequences. So buckle up, let's see how these moves are reshaping the business landscape, and what it means for American workers and consumers. Let's find out together. Let's start with Apple, the trillion-dollar tech giant whose products are designed in California but assembled elsewhere. For years, China was Apple's manufacturing hub, a relationship that was profitable but complicated. Then came the tariffs, making it more expensive to import from China and threatening Apple's bottom line. Instead of moving jobs to the US, Apple diversified, shifting production to countries like Vietnam and India. This wasn't about patriotism, it was about survival and staying competitive. Apple's China Plus One strategy meant building a parallel supply chain, investing billions in new factories outside China. The result? More resilient, geographically diverse manufacturing, but not more American jobs. The tariffs, meant to bring jobs home, actually accelerated Apple's move abroad. Global supply chains like water find the path of least resistance. For Apple, that path led to Southeast Asia, not Ohio. The lesson: you can't bully a multinational into acting against its interests. Apple's duty is to its shareholders, not political slogans. When faced with tariffs, they'll move factories, not pay extra. The outcome? Apple is less dependent on any one country and the US gets fewer tech jobs. A classic case of political ambition colliding with economic reality. If Apple is the face of modern tech, a symbol of sleek innovation and global influence, then Harley-Davidson is the icon of American grit, freedom, and the open road. A brand that's as much about attitude as it is about motorcycles. But in 2018, Harley faced a crisis that threatened its very identity, not from US tariffs but from Europe's retaliation in a growing trade war. The European Union slapped massive tariffs on American motorcycles, instantly making Harleys thousands of dollars more expensive for European riders and dealers. Harley's leadership faced a brutal choice: abandon a key international market, or move some production overseas to keep their bikes affordable abroad. They chose survival, shifting production of European-bound bikes to a new factory in Thailand, a move that would spark controversy back home. The backlash was fierce. Accusations of betrayal and selling out American workers flew across social media and news outlets, but Harley had little choice if it wanted to stay afloat. This wasn't about chasing cheap labor or abandoning American roots. It was about dodging tariffs just to keep the business alive in a globalized world. By assembling bikes in Thailand, Harley sidestepped the EU's punishing tariffs and kept European sales alive, even as critics at home fumed. The move exposed how tariffs ripple through the global economy, creating unintended consequences and hurting even the most patriotic brands. Harley's story is a cautionary tale. Tariffs don't just hit importers. They can cripple exporters too, forcing companies to make tough, sometimes unpopular decisions. The company kept its US factories running for American sales, but the damage to its brand, its workforce, and its reputation was real and lasting. When politics and economics collide, even icons must adapt or risk extinction. Harley-Davidson found itself at a crossroads, forced to choose between loyalty and survival. The next time you see a Harley roaring through the streets of Paris or Berlin, remember, it took a detour through Southeast Asia to get there, a journey shaped by global politics. Tariffs meant to protect American industry ended up forcing an American legend to go global, changing the company's path forever. It's a long way from Milwaukee in every sense, a reminder that in today's world, even the most iconic brands must navigate a complex, interconnected marketplace to survive. Now from two wheels to four, General Motors, a name synonymous with American industrial might and innovation. GM, once a symbol of American strength, faced a billion-dollar hit from steel and aluminum tariffs. These tariffs, intended to protect American industries, ironically made raw materials more expensive for domestic manufacturers. Higher costs forced GM to make tough choices: close US plants, cut jobs, and shift investments abroad. The impact was immediate and severe, with thousands of workers suddenly finding themselves without employment. Officially, GM blamed changing consumer tastes and the shift to electric vehicles. The company emphasized its commitment to innovation and the future of transportation, but tariffs made U.S. manufacturing more expensive, especially with global supply chains. The interconnected nature of modern manufacturing meant that any increase in costs had a ripple effect throughout the entire industry. Tariffs on auto parts meant building cars in the U.S. cost more, pushing GM to expand in Mexico and China. These countries offered cheaper labor and fewer regulatory hurdles, making them attractive alternatives. The Buick Envision, made in China and sold in the U.S., became a symbol of this new reality. It highlighted the growing trend of American companies relying on foreign manufacturing to stay competitive. The policy meant to protect U.S. jobs actually incentivized moving production overseas. Instead of bolstering domestic employment, it led to more factory closures and job losses. Plant closures devastated communities like Lordstown, Ohio, highlighting the real-world impact. Families were uprooted, local businesses suffered, and the social fabric of these towns was torn apart. Tariffs disrupted decades-old supply chains, making American factories less competitive. The intricate web of suppliers and manufacturers that had been built over years was suddenly thrown into disarray. GM's story shows how blunt trade tools can backfire, hurting the very workers they're meant to help. The intended protectionism ended up being a double-edged sword. The company streamlined and reallocated resources, but the most profitable opportunities were increasingly outside the U.S. This shift was not just about cost-cutting but also about strategic positioning in a global market. The barometer of America's industrial health signaled a coming storm. The decline of such a major player was a warning sign for the broader economy. Tariffs didn't bring jobs back, they pushed them away. The intended economic nationalism resulted in unintended consequences. Sometimes protecting the castle means accidentally flooding the moat. In trying to shield American industry, the policies ended up isolating it, making it harder to compete on the global stage. Now Tesla, a company that turned a trade war into a global opportunity. While many American firms braced for impact, Tesla saw a chance to rewrite the rules of the game. China is the world's largest EV market, a place where electric cars are not just a trend, but a government-backed revolution. Yet US-made Teslas faced steep tariffs there, making them a luxury few could afford. When the trade war escalated, China's tariffs on US cars soared to 40%, pricing Tesla out of the market almost overnight. Showrooms emptied, and Tesla's future in China looked bleak. Elon Musk's solution? Build where you sell. If tariffs were the wall, Musk would simply go around it. Tesla constructed Gigafactory Shanghai in record time, just 10 months from breaking ground to rolling out cars. This bold move bypassed tariffs, slashed costs, and stunned the auto industry. The Chinese government welcomed Tesla with open arms, offering land, low-interest loans, and fast-track approvals. For the first time, a foreign automaker could own its factory outright in China. The result? Tesla's sales in China exploded, and the Shanghai plant quickly became its most productive facility worldwide, churning out cars for both China and export markets. Ironically, a policy meant to hurt China convinced America's most innovative car maker to invest deeply in China, creating jobs and technology transfer on Chinese soil. Tesla didn't abandon the US, but the trade war forced it to become a truly global manufacturer, faster than anyone expected. Now, Tesla's playbook is studied by rivals worldwide. Today, Tesla China is a core part of the company's identity and profitability, contributing billions in revenue and shaping the future of electric vehicles. But there's a catch. By building in China, Tesla is also helping its future competitors. Local engineers learn, suppliers grow, and Chinese EV startups are watching closely. It's a Faustian bargain, great for today, risky for tomorrow. The same openness that fueled Tesla's rise could empower its rivals. While Harley moved to survive, Tesla built a fortress inside its rivals' territory, betting big on the future of global manufacturing. The US threw a punch. Tesla sidestepped and thrived, turning adversity into advantage and rewriting the rules of international business. Tariffs didn't stop Tesla, they made it stronger abroad. Now Shanghai-made Teslas are shipped to Europe and beyond. Sometimes the best defense is a bold offense, and Tesla's Shanghai surprise changed the game for good. Finally, Caterpillar, the heavyweight of American industry. Tariffs hit Caterpillar from all sides, higher steel costs at home, and retaliatory tariffs abroad. Their solution? Localized production. Instead of exporting from the US, Caterpillar ramped up manufacturing in China and Europe to serve those markets directly. This shift wasn't about closing US plants, but about directing new growth overseas. Building in Illinois for Asia no longer made sense. It was cheaper to build in Suzhou, China. Executives were clear to stay competitive, they'd move production if needed. The result, fewer export-related jobs in the US and more focus on domestic sales. Tariffs, meant to protect American industry, ended up fencing it in, locking it out of global growth. Caterpillar's story is the blueprint for how global manufacturers adapt to trade barriers. They bulldozed a new supply chain, navigating around economic walls. The shift is slow but fundamental. American machines, foreign factories. The transformation was accelerated by the very policies meant to prevent it. Sometimes, protecting your turf means losing ground elsewhere. A truly earth-moving own goal. So, there you have it, 5 giants, 5 stories, 1 lesson. Tariffs were meant to bring jobs home, but often pushed companies to diversify and relocate. The global economy is complex. Capital flows around barriers, not through them. These companies aren't villains. They're adapting to survive. The real question, are these the rules we want? Should we accept policies that drive our icons to invest elsewhere? Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives. Thanks for watching.